Do you remember the fucking that pump we changed out?
Yes, I was talking with somebody about that. I know you don't remember, but um, I was talking with him about it. And I'm like, no, we threw this pump overboard, and it came back. It was like the pump that never died.
Dude, why do you even remember why we had to even work on that thing? Like why were we even working on that thing?
It wasn't a pump; it was a garbage disposal, and it broke because the cook had thrown like 24 dozen eggs down it, and it turned into concrete, and it seized up. Yeah, remember that? Now you remember.
No, man, we didn't we didn't work on a garbage disposal. We worked on the it was the fucking pump for the sanitizer sink. Sanitizer sink, right? The shit that fucking sprayed the hot water on the dishes.
That was a garbage disposal.
No, man, garbage disposals are under sinks. This was not
Yep,
under a sink.
it was under a sink. It was under the part where the cranks would spray their water. It was a garbage disposal. It was a motor with a gear that it was like it was a garbage disposal. Basically, it was just a high tech garbage disposal.
I know what a garbage disposal is. I swear to God, it was underneath the sanitizing sink, because you had the fucking the sanitizing sink, and then you had the fucking motor that was like, how was it even in there? What? Because it was like it was below
I don't
like
know how it was in there, but it was a garbage disposal because when we opened it up, we were like, I was like, I can't get this thing out. We were like wiggling it around and like we couldn't get it out, right? And then when we finally did pull it out, there were like 24. It was like 2 dozen eggs that he threw down it, right? And it was like concrete. It was like stuck in there, like that thick.
dude. What? Why was that bitch so hard to get out? I don't. Cause I remember like how long were we working on that motherfucker? It had to have been like hours.
Least 8 hours, at least like a whole day. Like it was like a whole day of working on it. Why? Okay, what, what was it like? Did they want you to like wire it or what? What was the whole thing with that? Because like, why were you even like? Why didn't you just tag it out and then leave me to fuck with it for hours? Why were you there?
Well, one, cause I wanted to hang out with you, but two,
Yeah, but
they told me that I had to unwire it. So I was waiting for you to disconnect it so I could unwire it. And you fucking took forever to fucking disconnect it, so I was stuck there.
okay, yes, yeah, I remember that.
And I want to say
God,
like half of it was submerged in water. Is that right?
mm-mm. What it was is there was it came down from the drain, right? And then the bottom had an elbow in it, like this, right? Like that went up to the other portion, like the drain portion.
Like an S
And
pipe?
then there was like, yeah, yeah, exactly. And then there was like that much clearance from the bottom, from the bottom of it to the top of it. And there was all these pipes in between it, right? And so it wouldn't come out. Like it wouldn't like physically, like there was no way to get it out. You know what I'm saying? And there was no way for you to even like get like a hacksaw and cut it out because it was all like mounted in there. So it was just like stuck.
Dude, if you
The
could
only thing
describe how hard it was to get that pump out, Because obviously it took you 8 fucking hours to remove one pump. Like, it shouldn't take 8 hours to remove a pump. Like, most pumps are union, maybe valve, union, pump, right? And you just boop,
Yeah.
boop, boop, take out the pump. But, like, why was it so hard? Why did it take 8 hours? Why did it take you
There
eight
was no
hours,
room
mechanic man?
because A, I'm not a mechanic man, but B, because there was no room when they built that shit. Like, it's the same thing. Like, you never worked on the trim pump, right? You never worked on the trim pump with me. You did work on the trim pump?
Yeah, it was an electrical pump.
Okay, well, did you ever replace the packing on the trim pump?
No.
Okay, well, if you ever did, you had a like a 2-foot box that you would have to squeeze through, right? And then you couldn't squeeze all the way through, so you had to just like stick your hand like in there and feel around for the packing, right? And it was like, oh, well, you got to turn it like a 1/4 inch at a time, a 1/4 inch flange like at a time to unloosen the packing, and then remove that packing with a dental tool, and then replace that packing because you couldn't physically. They designed it. The engineers on the boat designed it so that nobody could physically get there and replace it. Like, you could get there with your hand, but you couldn't get there with like your whole body. You know, it was stupid. It was just a stupid design.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they designed boats like for functionality first, and then they were like, how are we gonna make it to where people can replace shit on here? And then they came up with that next.
I talked to the people at and I was like, how did you guys engineer this shit? Because like, obviously, somebody had to think of this. Like, there's no way that you can remove these things, And they're like, when they designed the boats, they had like a computer simulation, right? And they had the computer simulation with like a little guy that would like walk around.
Was he a hobbit?
Go to yeah, pretty much. Right? Like, it's like, oh yeah, somebody could fit there easily. Like, yeah, my daughter, she's almost 3. Like, she could fit there. I can't. I'm a grown ass man. I can't fit in the fucking trim nets. Like, what do you do? Not only that, when we went to go replace the it was the external hydraulics for the external, like all the mass and shit, right? The accumulator for the external hydraulics.
Yeah.
When we went to go pull that, because something happened where the O-rings went bad along the piston. We went to go pull the piston out. It wouldn't come because it hit the roof. It hit ventilation. So you had to remove ventilation to get it out. It's like, who engineered this?
Oh man, yeah, that was shitty, dude. Fuck, man.
But literally, like, so out of everything that I worked on, that fucking trash garbage disposal unit was the worst. The craziest thing about this, though, is it's not the crazy fact that it took me so long to get. We threw it overboard, and then like 2 days later, it was back on the boat. The same fucking unit. Like, who pulled that out of the water?
Yeah, I know, because the waters had to have been like 30 feet deep. It had to have been at least deep enough for the boat,
More, right? The draft is like 34.
Yeah, that's right.
So what? So it's got to be double that. Who went down? What diver went down? Was like, oh, they must have forgot this, and like put it on somebody's rack.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, because it showed up in my berthing, and I was like, oh, what the fuck is this pump doing here? What is this? Is this it? Is this the pump? I was confused as fuck, man, because it looked like it was like corroded and shit, like it's been in salt water and shit. I was like, What the fuck? We're not gonna use. What is that?
Here's another thing,
What
right?
is that?
If that's laying on the bottom of the river, that meant that the divers were around, like looking around. They're like, "Oh, hey, what's that? Oh, let me go pull it out." And then they gave it to somebody. They're like, "Hey, we found this underwater. You want it?" You know, and like somebody was like, "Oh yeah, I want that."
I think half of that's our fault because I remember like after we got it out, we were like, we should probably dispose of this properly, but we were so pissed at fucking working on that thing for 8 fucking hours. We were like, let's throw it overboard. And we threw it fucking overboard instead of getting rid of it correctly, and that motherfucker came back. It came back, and I was, what the fuck?